named Of Iwerks, whose daughter, her granddaughter, by the way, is an award-winning documentary filmmaker, Leslie Iwerks. Ub went on to create Mickey Mouse for Walt. He was the guy who drew the pictures, animated Mickey. Disney later said that, quote, "We were rather indebted to Charlie Chaplin for the idea behind Mickey's personality, the little guy." And but there's more to the story than that. Mickey was born of many sources, and there tends to be a myth that all of them just sprouted like, you know, Venus out of the brow of Zeus or something like that. In the 1920s, cartoon movie theaters were teeming with cartoon mice, including Walt's own pre-Mickey mice. If you see the poster, these little frisky critters are all around bedeviling the rabbit. They should be bothering cats, but here they're bothering Oswald. And on the right, you see a birthday card for their father, Walt's father, and Roy Disney, his brother, who was the business genius. He's the guy who Walt had to turn to get the money for him to do his crazy ideas. And this was 1926, and again, you have the same kind of mice in there. So clearly, this was almost 2 years before the first Mickey Mouse cartoon was released. So mice were something he was fond of. Newspapers and magazines in the 1920s also were rife with cartoon mice. One interesting visual source for the early Mickey is a character called Johnny Mouse, that you see here, created by a man named Clifton Meek, seen in a comic strip from 1921. So this is about 7 years before Mickey was created, and this is from the old humor magazine called Life, not the picture magazine. And both Disney and Of Iwerks, we know, were aware of this guy's work. Another likely inspiration is a second, it gets confusing, another Johnny Mouse character by another artist called Johnny Gruelle, who was well known as the creator of Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy. And they were buddies. They lived in Connecticut, not too far from where I live. On the left is a book from 1922, written and illustrated by Johnny Gruelle. On the right is a detail of the comic strip you saw a second ago, of Johnny Mouse by this guy Clifton Meek. And note that both figures are fully clothed. They don't have the red shorts or whatever the Mickey had. They got shoes and all, and they also have these saucer-like ears with a rim to them. Mickey's ears were flat, little discs that always seemed to be fitting whatever they always were facing you. Those qualities that I just mentioned are important because the figure on the left, the far left, represents Walt Disney's first vision of his new cartoon star. And you notice the clothing is very similar. That sketch and one on the right, and you're going to see a page of all of these drawings on it. You see the ears have those saucer-like discs that you see in the middle there. And I call the sheet you're going to see in a minute here the Rosetta Stone of Mickey Mouse drawings. It's one of the few drawings that escaped the clutches of the Disney company after he died. That his daughter, Diane, not just the only natural-born daughter, but the natural child, they adopted one girl. And so it remained with the family. And there's a lot of very personal stuff, including his orders in World War I, the cross driver, and that birthday card to their father that the company held on to, did not give to the family, which is not very nice, I think. Anyway, so this sheet has 8 preliminary visualizations of Mickey, or what Mickey could look like, drawn for Walt by this guy Of Iwerks. Walt had quit drawing cartoons. He had done a cartoon series like Oswald, but he was the producer, the director, and all that. when after it also draw the sheet of paper is about 9.5 by 11 inches or 12 inches. You see little holes. You'll see that on a lot of animation drawings, and even some of the cells. We'll see one or two of them because they had them on pegs. And then the table, they had a light table effect, and they would rotate it. It's easier to do curves when it moves for you. Yeah, curves are very hard. The circle is very hard to draw freehand. And so Walt had decided to go with a mouse. As I said, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit existed. Universal owned him, so he couldn't do a rabbit. And he wanted something little and furry and cute. There were Felix the cat. So cats were taken. So it was almost inevitable, and then you saw all the earlier mice cartoons to go with a mouse. Not a rat, but a mouse. There's the guy of Iwerks I mentioned, right? Drawing. This is a kind of a promotional figure, but he really did draw him in the early going. And by the way, he several times, anyone in Hollywood to begin with Disney was swimming with sharks. And all the big motion picture companies did the distribution. There's a lot of control and money going on. And several times they lured away some of his people. And he stayed with them the first time, which was pivotal to get Mickey going. And then he got lured away, gave up 20% of the Disney stock, which today only God and Walt know, but that would be good. Anyway, there is this theme, there are a couple of myths about how Mickey was created, and the one that's most credible is that on the train ride back, after he lost the rights to the Lucky Rabbit series, they have a 4 or 5 transcontinental trip on the train back, and he's the boss. You don't arrive back and talk to your brother in Iwerks and say, I don't know, what do you think? He had to have a plan. So the story that the mouse came to him, again, he had mice in his mind already, makes sense to me. And so what we see here are these ideas for that, and again, executed more than anything else, I think. Here's that Rosetta sheet again, which supports the theory of the creation of Mickey on the train ride back. And originally he wanted to call him Mortimer, which is one of those funny names like Oswald. We still laugh at it today. And his wife Lillian supposedly said, that's too prissy. And she insisted on Mickey, and that makes sense too. Later, there is a character called Mortimer Mouse, and the nephews are Morty and Ferdy. So he liked that name, obviously. And by the way, Mortimer, if you remember Mortimer Snerd, you know, the dummy with Charlie McCarthy and Edgar Bergen, Candice Bergen's father. And also, if you've ever seen the movie Arsenic and Old Lace, the Cary Grant character is Mortimer. So it was a comic name, you know, it wasn't Johnny or Mickey. So it was very smart to go to Mickey because it made him more universal, not just kind of dismissively humorous. On the top left, that I call him a little Lord Fauntleroy type character with a floppy bow and all that. I believe is Walt's original idea for Mortimer, you know, which sounds like Buster Brown or something, you know. And they went in the middle. I'm sure that blue circle was either drawn by Walt or up. That's the one, we'll go with that. And that's the closest to what Mickey would look like on the screen. And in the very first Mickey Mouse cartoon they made,